What's going on, Bleacher Bums? It is Saturday, March 11th. Starting to wrap up the regular season for college basketball. Today's really the last day that some of these teams are finishing up. We should have our March Madness brackets ready to roll. Hope you guys are all in your bracket buster games that people you work with or whoever have put together. I know there's a lot of websites doing them, so you can jump in. There's a lot of free ones. Some of the bigger money ones are going to probably be where you guys work. Some of those guys put together some really neat ways to do their brackets. So definitely search around, check them out, send me messages if you guys are looking for some. I got some websites for you. You can jump in there and do your own bracket busting this year. All right. We had a crazy day yesterday. Give you some of our results. We lost our play of the day. Michigan State minus 3.5 over Ohio State. I gave you that early on in the day. Had a better one later in the day. As the day went on, I found one that cleared. We won that. Virginia minus 3 over Clemson. We didn't get the Temple and Cincinnati over 140. Their shooting percentages were really low for that game. The defense was on high alert. Also with the Santa Barbara first half over Riverside. Santa Barbara came out and just shit the bed. They didn't cover it. And I think they had like 11 out of 12 games that they had won the money line on the first half. But Riverside took them out in the first half. But we did win the Virginia minus 3 over Clemson, UCLA minus 5 over Oregon. NBA is what was really rough. Tobias Harris had 5 rebounds. We needed him over 5.5. Brooklyn, we did win. They won outright, plus 4 over Minnesota. Evan Mobley, over 2.5 assists. He did not cover that. Toronto money line over the Lakers. They had a 9-game winning streak in LA. They did not win that. And the Joker under 10.5 assists. He ends up with 11. Missed it by half. And then we jumped to the NHL, which we destroyed once again. We lost the Florida minus 1.5 over Chicago. They won, but they didn't cover the puck line. But we did win Anaheim plus 1.5 over Calgary. We did not even need that. They won outright. Mikkel Backlund of Calgary, we needed him over 3.5 shots on goal. He had 4. I'm pretty sure Noah Hanfin, also from Calgary, under 2.5 shots on goal. Easy winner there. And then our boy Troy Terry of Anaheim, under 2.5 shots on goal. He had a big goose egg. That was easy one there. So NHL, we are still rocking and rolling through there. So I've got a couple. I actually, on my show yesterday, I told you about Vermont and UMass over 140.5. I've got a couple of my favorite plays. That's one of them, plus UAB and FAU over 148. But back to the Vermont and UMass. These are the smaller schools we just don't hear much of. And these are the ones I like to attack because I don't think the books are really accurate when they are dissecting these smaller schools. Vermont and UMass are really having an incredible year on shooting, and they've only got it at 140.5, and it's been sticking there. It's either they know something, they think these defenses are probably going to tighten it up, but I don't see it. Vermont is one of the better shooting teams in the nation. Like I said before, they're hitting almost 50% from the field, and their defense is not good. And that's pretty much what we want. We want a good offensive team and a very bad defensive team. We kind of got it there. Against Vermont, teams are hitting 45% from the field, and skyrocketed number of 35, almost 36% from downtown. UMass Lowell they're averaging 78.5 points per game, and they hit almost 50% from the field. That's 48.3, along with Vermont's 47.1. And Lowell is even better from behind the arc. They're at 37.8%. I just think this is going to be one of those fun games you see highlights on ESPN where it could even go to overtime. I think this is going to be a really tight game. But I think they're going to go way over the 140.5. And then after I had talked about it yesterday, I got really into this UAB and FAU game over 148.5. At first, I thought it might be a little high until I started digging into it. And it's not the case. When these teams met in Birmingham with the Owls, they were entering the game with a top 25 ranking. The Blazers proceeded to hand the Owls an 86-77 loss on February 2nd while covering a 1.5 point number. Again, the over is easily cashed in that meeting too. It was in the real low 140s, if I remember. The Owls are averaging 82.5 points per game. As such, even with an increased amount of pressure in the NCAA tournament automatic bid on the line, I'm going to expect many points in this game. UAB is also averaging 82.2 points per game this season, which was number 9 in the nation during the regular season. This team is a solid 3-point shooting team. They're also high behind the arc with almost 37%. Defensively, the Blazers allow 71 points per game. For FAU, it has managed a solid 79.3 points per game, which was 26th in the nation, while hitting 47% from the field, which is 41st in the NCAA, and 37, almost 38% from behind the three-point line, which ranks 22nd. Now, if the Owls have an Achilles heel on offense, it's their dismal 71% from the free throw line. I just don't think we're going to have a problem with that. And I think that's why this line is under 150. This is going to be another tight game, and it's going to come down to these free throws. And I think they're thinking I may get some nail biting going on here, but I just don't see it. I think still UAB seems to have the combination to solve the FAU's defense. They did it in both meetings. I think we're going to see another healthy offensive total. But I really love these two plays. Is really I try to keep it at 1, but it definitely is one of my favorite plays of the day. So we've got that. Now we've got, I always put my best bets. I usually try to put about 5 up there, and you guys can kind of choose from them. I always give you my play of the day. Those are the ones I'm absolutely betting on, probably 2 units, up to 2 units. But these other ones I usually sprinkle on at least a unit on. So it's not like I'm just throwing games out there for you guys to choose from. Got Purdue minus 5.5. Excuse me. God. Maybe it means I'm going to make some money today. That's, I think, itching your palm usually means you're going to win money, but maybe itching the top of my foot means I'm going to win something. Be nice, huh? Keep that roll, the winning streak going. Purdue -5 over Ohio State. They have Purdue has won 9 of the last 10 games against a non-AP ranked opponent at a neutral site. Ohio State's had a nice little cute little run. I just think Purdue is going to be too much for them. I think they're going to win by double digits. Norfolk State is probably one of my favorite college hoop games today. They have won each of their last 16 games against a non-AP ranked opponent in a neutral venue, and it's only -2. I love that one. Fordham +6 over Dayton. Fordham has won their last 12 out of the last 14 games during the day. I hate day, night, Friday games, Tuesday games. I hate those trends, but I throw them out there. Maybe they'll make you nice, warm, and fuzzy. I've been following a lot of these trends, and they are what they are. They're trends, but they are falling through. They're coming in, and we're cashing. So that's why I throw them out there for you. As corny as it sounds. Got Marquette -1.5 over Xavier. Nice little run for Xavier, but I think it ends today. Marquette has won each of their last 8 games. They're on a nice streak, and it's only 1.5. I think that's a great play. And here's what I put an extra play up here for you on my Facebook page. I tried to find some really good reasons other than my heart talking to me. This is kind of one of those gut plays. I love Vandy +5.5 over Texas A&M. Vandy is kind of one of these little Cinderella teams that are just kind of bouncing around and just doing what they need to do, and they've won their last 10 out of 11 games. Absolutely, stunningly love that play. I'm going to be sprinkling some on there. More of a coming from the heart rather than the brain, but I think Texas A&M, we've seen them in the past. They've done well in the tournaments, but they've also stunk it up. So I think this is one where Vandy slips in. They could possibly even win the game. Jumping to the NBA, Indiana is probably and living here in Detroit, trust me, Detroit has pulled off a couple games here and there. They've covered some games, but they are just horrid. They are so bad. Their coach is under fire now, and he's definitely on the hot seat. I think there's going to be some things going on in this offseason. And they've obviously cashed it in. Indiana always plays Detroit tough. In their last 10 games, Detroit's lost them all. I see Indiana winning this game, and it's only -5.5. I would play it up to -6.5 probably. Anything higher, I'd kind of back off. But -5.5, you're looking for a 6-point win. I think they can do that. And then your Knicks. They're hot as hell. They've been underdogs. They've won 5 of the last 6 games as underdogs. You're getting 5 points against the Clippers, who are playing decent ball, but they're skittish also. I like the Knicks. I like the run they're on. Take the free points. Boston -4.5 over Atlanta, heading to Atlanta. Atlanta's at home. Celtics have won each of their last 15 games against opponents who are on their second leg of a back-to-back. It's an interesting stat there. But Boston is just, you might be looking at they could win it all this year. I really like their team. Very solid team. Sacramento is heading to Phoenix. Now, this is an interesting game because their over and unders set pretty high, and these teams can throw up points. I have this under 239.5. The 3 most recent meetings between these teams have averaged 231 points, with the under cashing twice. Expand that to the last 10 games between these two, and you get 225 and 225.2 points per game, and a 3-7 record to the over and under. Games played at Footprint Arena have resulted in 6 unders in the last 7 games played between these two. I really like that. I like that under. Miami -2 over Orlando. The Magic have failed to cover the spread in each of their last 6 games at home, which is never good. I don't care how bad you are. You gotta at least cover the number at home, and they have failed to do so in their last 6 games. Jumping to the NHL, this one's almost laid out on a silver platter for you. Again, in Detroit, they're in this. They've had a nice little run going here and there. Yzerman's doing a really, a decent job heading this Detroit team. We know what he did for Tampa. He's going to do it here in Detroit. It's going to take him some time. They've made some trades here in the last week or two, and it's starting to look brighter. But Boston is just Boston. They have won each of their last 10 home games following a loss. But this is going to be a 5-1, 6-1 type game. I don't even see Detroit scoring over a goal, maybe 2 goals at the most. This is an easy win for Boston, -1.5. I don't have the, let's see, what's the over and under on this? Boom, bada boom. It's nice to have all these multiple computers. We're looking at 6. I think that's an easy over there. -115, not bad. 6 you're pushing. I definitely see this as a 5-1, 5-2. I think because Detroit's not going to score much in this is why it's sitting at 6. Boston's not going to have a problem doing it. So maybe just sprinkle a little on the over-under, because I figure that's about 6 to 7 should be the number there. I don't see it going to 6.5, so you should be all right. You can push at 6, so maybe sprinkle a little on that. Philly and Pittsburgh over 1. There's a lot of these games today in hockey. The first period, I don't know if all these NHL teams are sleeping or what are they doing, but these over 1.5s have been hitting like crazy. I mean, if that's all you want to bet on, first period over 1.5, you might as well just go down the board and just start hammering them. I have Philly and Pittsburgh over 1.5. Now, you're going to be spending more money to get this. I was going to put in over 2.5 goals. Last time I did that, I think was with Tampa and ended up with 2. But if you go over 2.5 goals in the Philly-Pittsburgh first period, it's going to pay plus 240. So that's why I've got over 1.5 for the first period. What's really interesting, though, it's the over 2.5 goals in period 1 has hit in each of the Penguins' last 4 games at home. So Pittsburgh at home, there's just goals being scored left and right. And I think that the over 2.5, I'd sprinkle some on there. I'm not telling you to do it. The over 1.5 is just do it. Regardless, minus whatever it's going to be, it's going to be pretty high. Because right now it's not bad. Over 6 goals is -122. So might be something you want to think about. But over 1.5 goals, that's on a silver platter for you. New York, Buffalo was another one that over 1.5 goals in the first period hit in each of the Rangers' last 10 games against an opponent on a losing streak. And that's what we're looking at with Buffalo. But the more I dug through it, I do like the over 1.5, but I'm more focused on over 6.5. I've seen it as high as -124. Right now, it is at -119, which is fine by me. I try to stay in the nothing more than 125, 130 at the most. And I will go above that, but it's got to be something that I can go to bed and wake up next morning and see my account in the plus. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but most of the time. But I like the -119 right now. So let's jump on that. We got Chicago and Tampa over 1.5 first period. The over 1.5 goals in period 1 has hit in 10 of Chicago's last 11 games. Tampa will definitely be able to take care of that. And Chicago may even put up a goal. Tampa's been allowing some goals lately. Really, most of these games, you could probably do that. Even Avalanche in Arizona, there's a possibility that could go over 1.5. I didn't touch it because there's just too many other good ones I like. Now, I do have Ottawa and Vancouver also over 1.5 first period. The over 1.5 in period 1 has hit in 15 of Vancouver's last 16 games against an Atlantic division. Why that one is not my play of the day, I don't know. It's just one of those things. There's just so much you can choose from today. So I try to keep you guys in a small area so it's not getting too crazy. Because the more you bet, the more you're likely to lose anyway. So I try to keep them at a small amount, and 3 to 5 games is, per sport is pretty decent. You can definitely get your units up that way. I'm more of a 1 to 2 games a day. That's why I put my favorite plays of the day up there. Right now, I'm at 19, 9, and 1. My winning percentage is 67.85%. I'm up 8.29 units. So if you want to just follow those, you'll definitely be in the plus. But these other games, too, we're hitting also. So especially the NHL. Absolutely killing the NHL. Now, I'm going to jump real quickly to the XFL. I'd like to get into it more. I don't want to take up all your morning. You got to get these bets in. It's 9:22 a.m. here in Detroit. XFL, I've got a couple games I really like. The more I look at this game, I really like it. Orlando is getting 8.5 versus Houston. There's been some teams that have scored quite a few points we've seen in the last few weeks, but as a whole, I don't think with these teams being, the league's still new. I think these teams are going to be closer, and I don't think Houston's even putting up the kind of points to deserve an 8.5 Orlando at home type of line here. And it's not like Houston's been lighting it up offensively. The Roughnecks quarterback Brandon Silvers has had his best game of the season last week, and still they only put up 22 points. And these teams played each other in week 1. Houston won in a lopsided fashion, and I think that's why you're getting this number where it's at. They figure throw 8.5. It might be a sucker bet for the Orlando fans, but I don't see it. I think this is going to be tighter. And because they're a road favorite, I just can't justify this kind of number. Plus, the total is only 37.5. So they're not expecting them to score a lot in this game. I just don't think Orlando is going to lose by more than 8.5 points. I just don't see that, especially at home. So let's take Orlando plus the 8.5 there. San Antonio and Seattle, over 40.5 last week. The total points scored in the Sea Dragons game was 56 points. Between the Sea Dragons' passing attack and their turnover problem, they are going to be probably a lot of high-scoring games. The total for this game is the second highest total of the week, next to 41.5, which we're going to talk about in a second here. The Brahms will have to do their part in this to get the game above their number, and that's, I think, what they're worried about, whether San Antonio can get some numbers up on the board. Because they like to run the ball, but they also have a high turnover margin to keep these points rolling in this game. So I just see nothing but over the 40.5 should hit pretty easily. High 40s in that game. This one's probably my favorite of the day. Arlington and St. Louis, over 36.5. St. Louis has scored 18 plus points in all three of its games this year. And they have probably the best quarterback with A.J. McCarron. The Battlehawks are going to be aggressive to let him rip it up, as the former Alabama star attempted a crazy 42 passes in a shootout last week. St. Louis defense has given up 34 in that one, so Arlington should be able to score enough to send this one over the total. McCarron seems to be developing a strong rapport with Hakeem Butler and the former fourth-round pick from the Cardinals. He went off on 9 for 105 and 1 last week. I see a prop play here if you can find it with the XFL games. Most sites should have some prop plays in this game. You just have to shop it around. Vegas, DC, over 41.5. This is the one I was telling you is the highest of the. We're going over. Both teams can score points. The Defenders put up 34 last week, and the Vipers put up 26. Odd makers have set this total for this game as the highest of the week. Defenders have relied on their defense of their defense for most of the season, but allowed 28 points 28 points by the Battlehawks last week. These teams have already played once this season, so they're familiar with each other, which probably will lead to more points. DC will try to run the ball and might do it successfully, but the Vipers' passing attack will keep points on the board. So, again, even though it's the highest, 41.5, I still see this as a can't miss over. So we're going to jump on that one. But those are your XFL games for the day. Shoot me messages. Hit me up any way you can. If you're interested in joining me in sports talk, breaking down games, I'd like to expand this into other things also. But right now, trying to get you guys winners. Bleacher Bum Sports with a Z. Jump on it on Facebook. Check it out. I have everything listed, my wins, losses, everything, my percentages. I think you'll be pretty stoked at my results every single day. With that said, Drew Brees is the choice of the day, as you can and let's go, Brandon. Other than that, have a great day. Send me your picks. Send me, shoot me a Facebook Messenger or throw some comments down here and let me know what you guys like. And I'll give you some props. Let's get me some winners. And if you want to briefly explain why, I'd love to hear it, good or bad. Have a great day, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow.